While President Trump's proposed travel ban is yet to get off the ground, he'll be hoping to make better progress on one of his other key pledges. That's the border wall with Mexico. He sent his new Secretary for Homeland Security on a tour of the southern frontier. That's John Kelly. And he's already said that construction on a wall between the US and Mexico could be well underway within 2 years. Well, Dr. Peter Watt is a lecturer in Latin American politics at the University of Sheffield and joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with the wall. Construction maybe within 2 years. Say he is only in office for 4. Is this realistic?
No. Actually, there is a wall that already exists in all the urban areas, the towns and the major cities like El Paso, between El Paso and Juarez, and San Diego and Tijuana. So the wall already exists, and that came in 1994, really, when Bill Clinton, under Operation Gatekeeper, started this project of militarizing the border. It kind of went hand in hand with free trade policies, NAFTA. And ironically, while trade was freely crossing the border, it made it more and more difficult for people to cross into the United States. And what it meant was that people would go to the remote areas in Arizona, for example, and try to cross through the desert. And so the number of deaths increased by about 500% in those first years of migrants crossing and being exposed to the elements. There is a wall that already exists, and it's fairly effective. There's about 60,000 Border Patrol agents already. It's the largest police force in the United States, and Trump has talked of adding another 5,000 to that. Of course, then there's the how realistic it is to build a further wall through those remote areas, which crosses mountain ranges, rivers, all kinds of things. Remember that the border between the United States and Mexico is about 2,000 miles long, so it's kind of equivalent from going from London to Cairo. So imagine building a wall all the way across Central Europe and into North Africa. It's not an easy thing to do. Of course, it's interesting that as soon as Trump comes to power, having campaigned about helping working people and helping the poor, the first thing he does is say, we're going to build a wall. And his priority is to use the resources of US taxpayers to build this kind of impossible wall between the US and Mexico when, there's over 45 million people living in poverty in the United States.
Yeah, and one of his other promises was, of course, to deport any illegal Mexican immigrants from the United States. And with all the palaver about his travel ban going on in the last week, it seems to have been sort of flown under the radar that he has already started that process, and his Homeland Security Secretary, John Kelly, saying that the US currently is not rounding anyone up, and says that people that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement apprehend are people who are illegal and then some. So these deportations have already started. What have you made of this and the fact that he is carrying out, effectively, he's beginning to get rid of the millions of people he said he would?
Yeah, I mean, even the language they use is, abhorrently racist. Nobody is illegal. There are people who are in the United States without the correct documentation, okay? But I think you're right, it does act as a distraction from the Muslim travel ban. And so this has been going on all the time since Trump came to power. But of course, it was already in existence. So President Obama actually deported more undocumented migrants than all previous US presidents put together.
So is President Trump getting a bit of unfair stick if President Obama was deporting the same people so effectively, if you will?
I think the stick that he's getting is very welcome, and the exposure and the press coverage and the contradictions of his policies can only be a good thing, in my view. It's what the press should have been doing all along, and they should have done it under Obama. Obama deported 2.5 million people between 2009 and 2014. So really what's happened is the Obama administration accelerated the infrastructure and the means by which to deport undocumented migrants back to Central America and Mexico. And I think what's happening under Trump is that the the kind of cosy liberal language has been removed, and you're going to see an acceleration of this policy. And the entire discourse of Trump and the administration is that they've taken the gloves off, and they're trying to normalize as much as possible these very racist policies. And the Muslim ban, of course, is part of that, but the deportation program is also, a further aspect of that.
Dr. Peter Watt from the University of Sheffield, thanks for your time.
Thank you.